Your reflection. Sometimes the thing looking back is not you. Staring through the bedroom glass, watching shadows slowly moving past. Cold room lights flicker twice, something whispers don't look twice. Mirror hanging on the broken wall, I hear footsteps in the empty hall. Every night when the clock hits 3, something in the glass watches me. I raise my hand, it moves too slow, I turn away, it doesn't go. A different smile appears on his face, like something else is taking my place. Cracks spreading across the frame, writing letters that spell my name. No reflection, no disguise, just a stranger with my eyes. Don't stare, don't speak, don't let it get too deep. There's a creature in the mirror, waiting every night, living in the darkness, hidden from the light. Every time I look away, it gets a little closer. Every time I close my eyes, I feel it getting stronger. There's a creature in the mirror.
Welcome, guys. Welcome to the show. It's Dave. And NSPSTV Paranormal Podcast. Irene will be along shortly, I'm hoping, but our guest, another spiritualist. And we're going to have some fun with this young lady, and we're going to talk, and we're going to educate each other, because I'm really curious to see what she's got going on. And, but you know what? It's got to be better than what happened yesterday, guys. If you guys watched yesterday's podcast, it was so much energy on the show that we could not even get the show going. I don't know what happened there, but hopefully it's not as bad as today, and we're able to get this done. And the great thing about it, my guest coughed, so therefore I can hear her, and she can hear me, and there's no echo. So please tell me there's no echo on your end.
A little bit, but we're going to get through it.
We're going to get through it. All right. So, guys, welcome everybody on the show. Everybody, and I'm going to do a quick shout out to all the platforms that we're on today. We're going to start with TikTok. All you guys that are on TikTok, welcome. All you guys on Kick, Rumble, Instagram, X, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, welcome to the show, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you guys got any questions for this young lady, feel free to put it in the chat, and I will put it on the screen. If you guys are on TikTok, if you guys got a question for this young lady, I will ask it, and hopefully she can answer it, But in the meantime, I'm going to turn it over to my guest and let her introduce herself to the world. Go right ahead, ma'am.
Well, first of all, thank you. And thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward to this. My name is Angie Kushel. I am a psychic medium. I run a small business in Jupiter, Florida, where I work with clients directly. I'm also a paranormal investigator with War Party Paranormal. And so I do a lot with paranormal investigation. Travel as much as possible and see as many of the haunted locations as I possibly can. I've also written a book, if anybody wants to go check it out. It is called The Way I See It, a medium's account of her paranormal journey. And that's kind of the short version of who I am.
Now, the short version is great, but the short version is not what the people really want to know about you. We want to know the long version. We want to know everything about you, spiritually, personally, emotionally. We want to know it all, because it's just one of those things where I don't really get too many mediums on the show, but when I do, instead of them picking my brain, I like to pick theirs. And
Perfect. I'm here for that.
Instead of them, seeing through my soul and my eyes, I want to look through their soul and their eyes. What I'm saying? So let's get this party started. First question of the day that I have for you, my friend, is why? Why do you do what you do?
You know, I consider myself to be an incredibly curious person. I like to know everything. And that's not to say that I do know everything. That's just to say
Hmm.
that I like to expose myself to different aspects of life because I think that that's how we become more well-rounded and more knowledgeable about who we are as people and who other people are. So, that being said, if we switch into the paranormal part of it, you want the long version after my second, what I considered at the time to be near-death experience, although I do know now, since I was not legally declared dead at any point, it's technically not a near-death experience, but it was very close to death on two occasions. And then the second one, um, I was in a drug-induced coma for a little while after that. After the drug-induced coma, there was no medical reason for me to be in the state that I was in,
Hmm.
according to people that were in the hospital, doctors, and people that came to visit me. I was having a lot of conversations with nobody. So when I kind of got back into reality, and to be honest with you, I don't know what that time frame was. I've chosen not to look at the medical reports and just kind of go with it is what it was meant to be. When I woke up from that experience, I knew that my life was never going to be the same. And as it was explained to me by somebody else, that the gift that I had came calling for me because I had denied it for too long. Have I always been psychic? Have I always been a medium? My answer to that is yes. I've always talked to what I refer to as I've always talked to dead people. I just didn't know they were dead. When I was
Okay.
young, I had friends and they were my friends. And I didn't know that it was spirit energy. To me, they were a safe place for me to be. So have I always been what I am? Yes. Did I like it? Was I afraid of it? Yeah, probably. Especially as we kind of go through those teenage-ish years, nobody wants to be the weird one. Nobody wants to be the freak who talks to dead people. So I kind of, squashed that all out, tried to blend in, with increasing amounts of anxiety anytime I was around people because all the energy just would like come crushing in on me. I didn't want to hear private conversations that I couldn't hear here, but I could hear. I didn't want to know things about people that were none of my business, that I had no right to invade their privacy just because I was sitting in the same restaurant as them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I just kind of had to, like I said, once that second near death experience, I really had to make some tough decisions. And my first decision that I made that I remember making was, well, first one I really made was let's not die. And I told myself that every single day as I recovered. Just don't die today. But my brain, my whatever was tormenting me. And I described that period of time as if I was watching 100 movies all at the same time in fast forward and reverse. I knew there was a message. I knew that I was supposed to know something, but I didn't know what that something was. So the next decision I made was to seek out people that I thought knew more than I did. And I took classes and I read books and I tried to figure out what exactly was going on. And as crazy as this part sounds, I decided that the easiest thing for me to accept was that I had lost oxygen to my brain long enough that I was having some sort of mental breakdown.
Oh wow.
That's easier for society to accept. You
Right.
know, you navigate around that. Nobody thinks, oh, she's the weird, crazy one that talks to dead people. She's just a little touched, and it's accepted. Um, so I was kind of hoping that was true because the rest of it just did not mesh with my logical brain enough that I was willing to accept it. So that's when I got into paranormal investigating. I saw an event, I went to it, I sat in the audience and focused all my brain power to somehow, you know, I was screaming for them to see me. I was screaming for them to acknowledge me. And I thought, if they can hear me scream, then I know that it's not just me. Sorry to say that's not how that event went. They did not
Wow.
hear me scream. I was still more confused, and I was still more in turmoil with myself. I was fighting myself energetically pretty much every minute of the day. So coincidentally, several weeks after that event, I'm scrolling through social media and I see this same paranormal investigation team advertising that they were looking for new team members.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. If this is real, these are the people that are going to know, and they're going to know, they're going to see me, they're going to understand me. So I sent in what I thought was a resume that would convince them to allow me to join their team.
Mm-hmm.
I lied, full on lied on my resume. Told them I had all kinds of experience. I needed to be seen, so it was worth the lie. So they brought me in for an interview, and they knew I was full of crap about what experience I had in paranormal. And they also had some really, really bad experiences with people that claimed to be psychic, claimed to be mediums. So they didn't take me at face value. And to be honest with you, I was glad because I wanted to be proven wrong. I wanted them to tell me that that I didn't have any special kind of gift or any special kind of talent. Go away and go get medicated. That was my goal going in. Somewhere along the line during my 3-year initiation process before I was going to be accepted as the team's psychic medium, 3 years, somewhere along that time, I started to accept myself through their challenges. I started to not only sit comfortably with who I was, but also be kind of proud of it.
Right. Right.
The fear, the religious shame, all of those things that can hit us very hard were being reconciled little piece by little piece until all of a sudden I realized what it was like to be whole. Because the parts of me that I decided were not worthy, and the parts of me that I decided were crazy, were just parts of me. And they weren't in fact crazy, and they weren't in fact ludicrous. And I have been doing it ever since. And it gave me the courage to speak to people that I was afraid to speak to before, family. By the way, I talk to dead people, and I spend my nights in haunted buildings and cemeteries. And okay, so that's that. The things that made me nervous or made me cautious or afraid to be judged didn't exist anymore.
Oh, interesting, because we're going to stay with the family thing here for a minute, because there's many other questions that I have to ask you prior to that I was thinking, but we're going to stick with the family here.
Okay,
Somebody knew that you had the gift.
you're
If not,
absolutely right. You're
where would
absolutely
you
right.
have got it from?
Well, my mom, and to be quite frank, my grandmother. However, once again, you add in social constraints and religious constraints, it was not something that was talked about. My mom used had on several occasions, the only ones that she's willing to admit to, she knew about a medical situation that almost cost her brother, my uncle, his life. And she spoke up about it. And she said, "You're told her mother, my grandmother, they're looking in the wrong place. That's not what's wrong with him." And he almost died before they found out what was wrong with him. Now, let's also fast forward to that medical experience that I had that almost cost me my life. As I'm being wheeled back to emergency surgery, I'm on enough morphine to probably kill a small cow. And my mom said, "Stop, don't take her, something's wrong." And they took me back anyway. So she knew something was not going to go well.
Oh wow,
Yeah. And
interesting.
yeah. And after the surgery, she, my mom is a short Italian woman,
Hmm.
which means she's super feisty. And she tried to she told the doctor exactly how she felt about making a bad decision after she warned him.
Oh, I can imagine how that conversation went.
Yeah, I was not awake for it, but I think it was probably this close to security being called.
Oh wow, that is
Yeah.
crazy. You know, I w- to be honest with you, uh, I am so tired of people telling me that I'm a medium, and so the big question it is, okay, the same question I asked you: where'd you get it from? How did you get it? Because most people that are into what you do is you're definitely born with it. So for you to tell me, oh, I did 80 hours a course online to become a medium, I think that's crazy. You know what I'm
I'm going
saying?
to agree with you on that, but I'm also going to put a caveat in there. I do believe that everyone is capable of communicating with spirit energy to a certain degree.
Okay.
What the big block is the logical part of your brain. I can't tell you how many things that my logical brain says, "Don't say that. That's the stupidest thing ever." But I have to trust myself enough to say it because the information isn't mine. So I've said some things that my logical part of my brain says, "Don't say that. Don't say that. You're going to sound like an idiot." But then when I say it, my client tears up and says, "Oh my God, how did you know that?" So just because our logical brain blocks us. So there's a huge amount of trust that comes with doing this because the part of us that doesn't want to sound wackadoodle stops us from saying things.
That's
We block ourselves the way that other people blocked us for years.
interesting. So you're saying logic plays a big role in the paranormal community.
Logic plays a huge role in the paranormal community,
Yeah.
both in a positive way and in a negative way, because your
Yeah.
logical brain keeps you from processing things that appear to be not logical initially.
Yeah.
I walk into a paranormal or a haunted location, I know what my body's reacting to. I can say to somebody, I'm feeling sick to my stomach, my heart is racing. I know what that means in terms of what energy I'm feeling. But the logical part of your brain goes, was it the burrito? You know? So, so you have to kind of get comfortable with being uncomfortable about some of the things that you're going to experience.
Exactly. And see that, and to be honest with you, that what bugs me the most about society. Most people today do not want to get out of their comfort zone to, to the possibilities. Possibilities are endless. Most people are just stuck in their old basic ways of saying things. And to me, hell, I thought we got past that in our years and years and years of evolution, compared to where we were in the 1900s, compared to where we are now. So I thought all of that is behind us. But no, it's still, I mean, it's in the shadows, but it's still there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it irritates the hell out of me how people today, and I would, and I have so much hope for this generation, because I thought this generation was going to be the ones that will bring it all to light. But no,
Mm-mm.
no.
No,
It,
I think that the younger generation are a little more scared than we were.
yeah. It's just so, I don't know what it is, and I'm so puzzled by it, because I've got so much hope for society, but it seems like the minute society takes a step, it takes four steps back. The minute
I
it
think the
seems,
biggest,
yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
and the minute it seems like it's opened its eyes a little wider, it seems like they close it. They close their eyes. I like, dude, you can't close your eyes to all of this, because all of this is going on. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care what uh, religion aspect you are, this and that, dude. It's going on no matter what religion you are. Even though there are people out there today that are saying, hey, you know, uh, you're not supposed to be doing this. And I'm like, dude, I mean, let's break it down. Somebody made me the way that I am. So therefore I am supposed to be doing this. I am made the way that I am. So therefore somebody evolved me to want to talk to spirits, want to go to these locations, hang out at cemeteries. Dude, it things just don't happen just to be happening. There is a reason behind all the madness that's going on.
I absolutely agree. And I think that probably where the next generation is going to make bigger strides is in the science part of it, where they're going to start realizing that there are scientific equations that allow this to make sense to the people that won't think about it existentially.
Hmm. So,
And that
yeah.
science is going to, and it's going to take a while. It's probably, my estimate right now is about 30 years before there's some kind of breakthrough that goes, hey, wait a minute. And then it's going to be debated for a while, but people are going to get a little more comfortable because now there's more scientific explanation.
Okay, now, because I've been debating with the scientific community as long as I've been doing this. And if you're saying that there would be scientific evidence, will that be enough? Will that be enough for the scientific community to open their arms to us and say, welcome to the family? or will they continue, or will they continue thinking us as a sidelines of science? I mean,
I think that yes, it's gonna be considered a sidelight science for a long time by the super rigid. But the whole generation of younger scientists that are gonna look at it very differently. The kind of old school, the kind of very rigid, you could walk a ghost right up to them, a spirit energy right up to them, have them blow in their face and play with their hair, and they'd still go, I was hallucinating. They still would not believe it, because if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always got.
right.
And there are some people that will never change their mind about anything. It does not matter how much evidence you give them. They will never change their mind.
I absolutely agree with you on that, my friend. I don't think, hell, if you put him on national TV and say, here he is, okay. I'm going to go on about my life and see you when I see you. You know, it's, why is it so hard for people to believe that there's a possibility of something else going on? Are they afraid that things might be better on the other side, and for some reason that people that are thinking that, that are having a hard time with life now, and if it's better on the other side, do you think, is it possible that suicide rates will grow up? I mean, will go up, fatalities will go up? I mean, is it possible that all these things can elevate it if they know that there is something going to cross that veil and it's better than what is going on here now? Hey, I ain't got to pay no bills no more. So, hey, that right there is telling me that, hey, life is better over there.
I find it absolutely amazingly astonishing that you just said what you just said. And here's why. I never considered that until yesterday. And yesterday I was reading something and I thought, if we had absolute belief that when we leave this life, we go into another energetic dimension or another energetic plane, whether you believe in reincarnation or whatever, but we don't cease to exist. We just cease to exist this way. I thought the same thing. Would it be almost like playing a video game? You know what? I can't get there from here. Let's just end this one and see if we can do it better next. Let's hit the restart.
Exactly.
And I wondered the same thing about suicide. The fact that you said that just kind of blows my mind, because I've never had that discussion with anybody. It just came into my brain yesterday.
Well,
and wondered the same thing. And I do think that that could absolutely be a unfortunate byproduct of that.
that is interesting. Okay. Hello, co-host. How you doing?
Not bad.
How's your knee?
Hurts.
Okay. Tonight's guest is with us. The great thing about you guys might have a lot in common. You know what I'm saying? Because both of you guys are very spiritual, and there might be some differences, but I think you guys come from the same tree.
Okay.
But I'm curious to know a little bit about what you guys think about certain things. Irene, we were just having a discussion. Feel free to jump in and tell us what you think about it. We sometimes don't understand people like you guys. I think and trust me, there are so many of you guys that are out there now. And if it wasn't for people like you and Irene, I think those individuals will still they will still be behind the closed door. A lot of people are afraid to open that door, to see past that door, because like you said earlier, Angie, they are afraid that, they have not had that eye-opening moment yet. So what do you tell people that are still behind the closed door, but are peeping behind it and wondering what's out there? I'm afraid of this gift. I don't know what to do with this gift, but yet I don't have nobody to educate me about this gift and what should I do with it?
When I have people come to me directly, and I do have clients that have come in and kind of, I've offered some mentorship from that. And I've explained to them the best thing that you can do is make sure that you protect yourself, because when we open ourselves up, we don't want an influx of negative energy. And where there's positive energy, there's negative energy. So let's just try and avoid that. But what I tell people when they're trying to communicate with somebody is try not to do it with pressure, meaning most people want to speak to someone that they love that is no longer with us. And don't come with them with a bunch of questions. What happened? Why did it happen? Those types of things, especially with someone who is young and may have taken their own life accidentally. Don't come with all the hard questions. Did you love me? Where's the family money? All of that. Just come with a nice, relaxed conversation. And do it when you're doing something else. I always tell people that the best time to start a conversation with someone that you love that's no longer with us is while you're folding laundry. And just talk about your day. Don't pepper with questions. Just talk. Went to the grocery store today. Can you believe how much eggs are? Just talk and then listen. And allow it to be a feeling before a hearing.
That is crazy, because I can remember my grandmother doing that. She could be doing something and just talk.
Yeah.
Nothing really big, nothing really specific, nothing really stood out about the conversation. Just a gradual, general conversation about whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what people need to do today, is just have a general conversation about it. And it's weird because a lot of people don't do that. Like you say, a lot of people bum rush, overwhelm the individual, bam, 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 bam. And the crazy and the most disrespectful thing, and I'm saying this to everybody that's listening, dude, if you're a paranormal investigator, never ask somebody how you die. Is it any of our business on how someone died? If they want us to know, they will tell us. But I've never come to anybody and asked a very serious and important question like that.
Yeah, I don't know that I have ever asked that question. I know that I've gotten the answer from that question, because usually I can tell it presents itself to me in a way that I know how they passed away. But yeah, I do think that there are a large, unfortunately, larger than we'd like it to be, group of paranormal investigators that are incredibly rude. Incredibly rude. When I go into any kind of paranormal investigation, the first thing I do is introduce myself. I don't go in there and go, hey, who are you? What are you doing here? What happened? I'm going to introduce myself first. Hi, my name's Angie. If you'd like to speak to me, I'd love to hear anything you have to say. That's generally how I start any paranormal investigation. I am not, I'm there to feel for you, with you. And I'm there to listen to and share anything you want me to listen to and share with you.
Yeah, That's the way it should be done. Uh-oh, I think she froze up. Angie, you froze up, my friend.
Because somebody didn't like that. That's why.
Somebody didn't like the question.
No, they didn't like
Sorry, frozen up. I don't know if you can still hear me.
both.
Yeah, we can still hear you. You froze up. Yeah. Normally, when we get interference like that, it's usually somebody that's trying to get our
Died.
attention. You know.
I've got you back now, but I'm sorry if you asked me something, I did not hear it.
No. See, normally when we get something like that, somebody's usually trying to get our attention, and we'll figure it out who it is in a little bit. You know, it's really hard for me to not ask specific questions. Irene get mad at me, you know, when I ask her questions, and sometimes I see myself asking her questions millions of times over. You know, because I'm hopefully to get a different answer. And sometimes, and I can tell she get frustrated, you know, but if I don't ask questions, then I'll never get the answers to the question.
That's
You know,
right.
and sometimes I will never get the answers, you know, and it's hard for me, you know, being the man that I am and being the type of man that I am. Generally, it would bug the hell out of me, you know. But it's really hard for individuals to, like, you know, to come to you, you know, that come to you and tell you, oh, Angie, you might think I'm crazy, or Angie, you know, if I tell you this, I'm gonna go to the nut house. You might as well just get the padded room ready for me. It's really hard for people to actually come and talk to people because they think they're nuts. You know what I'm saying? And I can't help but think how many people have come to you guys and said that same thing I just told you. Oh, you gotta think I'm crazy. And I don't even want to talk about medical people, people that are in the medical field. If they tell you that, hey, I've talked to spirits or I've seen something that I can't explain, hell, they're gonna lock us up.
Right. Yeah,
And you know,
I think that there are a lot of people that still kind of feel that way and they're still afraid and they still do wonder, much like I did. Am I losing my mind? You know, did something happen? Did I have a stroke? Did something happen where I've lost touch with all reality and now this is what I'm left with? And I get that fear. I do think that that fear is going away where people use the expression now, you know, I believe in that kind of stuff, right? That's the expression I hear a lot. I believe in that kind of
mm,
stuff, you know, and I always go, okay, you know, I wasn't going to try and convince you to believe in anything that you weren't ready to believe in. But
exactly.
the expression of it, that's kind of stuff still gives them kind of a way out of it if I reacted in a way they weren't expecting.
Yeah, you know, because I can't help myself but think sometimes, why do spirits do what they do? It seems like spirits, and I'm sorry, let me back it up. Why do people do what they do? Because that word, I'm still trying to figure out where that word spirit, I'm still trying to figure where that word ghost, I'm trying to figure out where these words originated from. You know, at the end of the day, these are still people. And I think it's disrespectful calling people spirits, ghosts. You know, if I know your name, I'm gonna call you by your first name because that's something that people has been calling you your whole life. You know, so for me to go and say, hey, ghost, or that spirit, come on, man. Let's think logically here. You know, how would you feel if I did you like that? You know, but I can't help but think some of the things that these guys are doing are just, you know, and some of them do it just to get our attention. But some of these things are doing things that it just doing what typical individuals will do, and I can't help but ask this question. If you're in, okay, if you are no longer here, is it possible that you can go back to your childhood and have your childhood mindset, or do you continue having your adult mindset? Because some of the spirits that I've seen or don't have, I know that they're adult, but they do some of the childish things, and it makes you really wonder, like, are you dealing with a kid, with, an adult in a kid's body? What exactly are we dealing with here?
I guess I'm not going to say that I know the answer, but I will tell you how I feel. I believe that the spirit energy presents itself to you in a way that you will understand it. Meaning that sometimes a spirit energy of an formerly aggressive male might be very intimidating to you, and you might not be able to receive that information in a way. So they will present to you as something a little bit different. They will present to you with a softer energy or a childlike energy. Now, the energy that they're giving you, that's how you're going to see them. That's how they want you to see them, so that you're not in a place of fear or discomfort. I don't believe this demon mentality that's of late. I don't believe in everything's negative energy. Oh my God, I don't believe in all of that malarkey. As long as I've been doing this, and as many investigations that I've been on, and as many spirit energy, ghost energy, whatever you're comfortable calling it, because I'm never sure what I'm comfortable calling it either. Have I come across energy that was uncomfortable? Yes. Have I come across energy that made me anxious? Yes. Have I come across energy that has affected me in a very, very aggressively bad way? Once. And I'll take that as my fault, because I went in, this was very close to the beginning of me doing this. I went in full open, no protection. I want to experience everything. And it didn't go well. So, but this, oh my God, this sounds angry on a DR60. Dude, that's feedback. That's an energy burst.
Oh, wow. So, and when you're investigating, and 'cause we didn't mention at the beginning of the show if you physically see individuals or not, or do you just sense them?
Yes, I see them. Yes, I sense them. Yes, I feel them. And yeah, I am, all the above. I don't think that there's a Claire that I have not experienced.
So, what is your protocol when you are in a location and you see and they're looking you right in your eyes? What is the first thing that you do? What is the first thing that you say?
If they've snuck up on me, which has happened at Waverly, where all of a sudden, shoo, there they were, I flinched, but if otherwise, I just say hi. I will introduce myself again. I will thank them for allowing me the opportunity to see them. I will let them know that they're welcome to come closer. I will let them know that they're welcome to talk to me. And if there's anything they want me to know, they can tell me, or tell me. And that's what I'm there for.
Because a lot of people that because I've met quite a bit of mediums and psychics and clairvoyants. Some of them are a little hesitant to look at spirit and in their eyes because it does something to them. I mean, I don't know because I don't have that particular gift. Uh, and it says that if you ever look a spirit, I mean a spirit, if you ever look an individual in their eyes, uh, it's a possibility that you get attachment. Do you
I
believe that?
firmly believe, I firmly believe that I am so well protected by my energy and my spirit guides. I'm not going to say that I'm going to go, challenge, come at me, bro, kind of thing for a negative energy. But I believe that I'm too protected and I have my rituals and my mantra that I open and close at the end
Interesting.
of a paranormal investigation. And that's not to say that I haven't had follow-up dreams. That's not to say that I haven't had the paranormal hangover that just that all that energy just really kicked my butt. But
Mhm.
I have only had one, what I believe people would consider an attachment. And that's when I had a paranormal drug overdose. I experienced everything from a drug overdose that energy, that spirit energy gave me. It was not pretty. It was not fun. It was incredibly embarrassing. And I set myself up for it. I
Oh
set
wow.
myself up. I wanted, I didn't know better. That was the one I was talking about, which was very early on. I didn't know better. I thought I was doing what I was supposed to do. And I learned some very hard lesson. That was an embarrassing hard lesson that night.
Interesting. Because again, I can't help, but think, where did all this start? Where did you guys come from? See, we're talking ancestry, your ancestors, your mom, your grandmother, your great grandmother. But dude, there has to be a line, a beginning from from where all this started at. And I've asked people thousands of times, where do you guys think this all started? Where did all this medium and psychic and clairvoyancy, where did all this originated from? People say it originated from witches. I mean, people say, and if that is the case, you guys are the branch that came off that original tree. But I've yet to find out scientific fact on where you guys really come from.
I don't know that you'll ever find scientific fact. Do I believe that there have always been, since the beginning of time, people that just knew stuff that other people didn't? And when language was something that started being used, whether it was facial expression, grunts, whatever that was, that there was a way to communicate that danger is coming, let's go. And they were the elders, they were the medicine men, the medicine women. They were the people that somehow intrinsically knew that if I go and I pick that leaf and I put it with that leaf, you're not going to be sick anymore.
Hmm,
So where did it start? I don't know, the beginning of time,
time. Is it
forever.
possible? Is it possible that people can use their gifts for bad? I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I don't know a bad medium. I mean, I've never met one.
Well, I don't know that mediumship and bad maybe go together. I think the biggest thing that people, you know, in this realm, they think of a good witch or a bad witch, a witch that does
Right.
things that aren't good. Do I consider myself a witch? Absolutely. But I also consider myself an earth witch or a white witch. I am a do no harm witch. I only practice for the betterment of myself or somebody else, which means no different than setting healthy intentions, which means burning candles to clear the air. It means nothing. I will never, ever. And I've been asked countless times, and I've been offered large sums of money. You can't buy my integrity. I will never, ever spell cast for the harm of another human being, period.
Interesting.
And that's where I think that kind of good and bad comes from.
And it's weird. And this is a question that I've never ever I thought about is, but I've never had the guts to ask. And I should have asked Irene this a long time ago. Why do you think that you guys aren't mentioned in the religious aspect of this whole grand thing?
Well, it depends on, I don't know, but I can tell you that, if you want to take some loose interpretation, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Who's the Holy Spirit?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm certainly
Oh.
not a religious expert. I'm sure somebody could probably tell us that knows a lot more than me. But,
Yeah.
and I heard someone say the other day, which I also found interesting, is that you'll criticize me for talking to energy that has passed on. But how long ago did Jesus die and you're still talking to him?
Oh.
I had someone say that to
That's
me
it.
the other day. Now, I'm not saying that to be controversial. I'm not saying that to be anti-religion. I'm not saying that for anything other than I thought that was a pretty interesting statement.
Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. And you got me wondering right now. That's a good one right there. Irene, you got any comments on that one?
Yeah, I just keep on getting criticized. I don't care. I don't really worry about that. I've heard that, and I just, I don't go there. And I said, oh, too bad. But I have my own ideas. That's it. I just don't bother it. I don't even bother with it. And I said, yeah, okay. That's your opinion. I got mine, and I don't bother saying anything about it because I am on a religious group on TikTok, but he's religious. He talks about God and everything else, and then I keep my opinions to myself because there's myself and another witch that does the same thing, and I follow him. We talk together, and we know who we are, and I don't worry about it. But he talks about certain things, and I said, well, what about this? And he goes, yeah, I never thought about that. See? He goes, yeah, you're right. So I'm religious in my own way. I'm don't longer go to church anymore, but I don't care about that. So yeah, I'll stick to Buddhism. It's better. Better
Yeah.
for me.
I was watching TV yesterday, and and I was sitting up there thinking, and this lady came in, and there's so many different ways, guys, that we can protect each other. We can protect our house. We can protect, ourselves, our cats, our dogs, our loved ones, and this. But we also have to understand that half of these protections that we are doing, most of them are double-edged swords.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't think so either.
You don't think so?
Okay.
No, because what matters is intention.
Intention. Yeah, I'll agree with that. But here's the one that really stood out the most. Like I was telling Irene, is that the whole salt, when you protect your house with the salt. Now, most people don't know that when you salt your house and you protecting your house and you protecting something that can't get in, what about something that can't get out? So that's
an interesting concept. I can tell you from example that I went to a self-proclaimed shaman's house who was having some paranormal activity. And she did the exact opposite of the way that things should be done. She should have known better. I do tell people, if you don't know, find someone who does. Don't just go all willy-nilly creating things. But ultimately, what's important is the intention. So yeah, we don't want to trap things in an effort to protect things from coming in, but intention is the basis of every act.
Actually, you kick the thing out before you salt your place. You get rid of the
Exactly.
energy in your house first, and then you salt it afterwards. Or you can use Palo Santo, or you can use white sage. It doesn't matter. But yeah, you always remove first, and then salt, so you don't
That's
entrap
right.
anything in your house. Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
but for the everyday Mo and Joe, do most people do that?
No,
Most people's like, okay, I'm gonna put this salt down. Okay, nothing come in here. In the meantime, the guy that you want to get rid of is actually standing behind you. So now he can't leave because you just blocked him from leaving.
Yeah. And it happens. And I've gone to clearings where I've had to fix what people have done. I've gone to not only with the paranormal team that I'm with, but individually with my business. I've gone where they like, well, I read on the internet, and I'm like, okay, go to someone you trust first.
Yeah,
You know,
you know, it's crazy. A lot of people these days are starting to believe in these tarot cards.
yeah.
What do you think about tarot cards? You think, and if you can, give me a number on what you think is mostly accurate about them.
Okay, so tarot cards have been around for a very, very long time. Originally, what was a form of deity using cards were self-created drawn cards. Then they went to like a regular standard like deck of playing cards. And then as things kind of moved on, they started having representations. And I'm not going to say that I'm an expert on how it all got here, but I use tarot cards every single day. Every single day. I use them in my practice every single day in my business. Tarot cards, just like any other form of divination, are accurate based on knowledge. Now, you can turn over a tarot card and you can flip through the book and it'll tell you what that means. Okay, that's what that card means. But then what about the card after it? And then what about the card after it? Tarot tells a story. And it's that
Mm-hmm.
story that practice, experience, and intuition is where accuracy comes in. Reading individual cards, okay, fine. If you got a real simple question, fine, pull a card and you'll be able to look it up and it's probably going to give you an answer. But if you're looking for divination, if you're looking for guidance, if you have something that's troubling you that you want to be able to understand, tarot tells a story. And that story doesn't come from looking up the definition or the meaning of each card individually. They build on each other, just like chapters.
Interesting. So, would you say most tarot cards are accurate or based on the story? If that means, if I said that
Again,
right.
intuition plays a huge role. I know a woman who works not far from where I am, who I would say is the most brilliantly gifted tarot card reader that I have ever known. But by her own admittance, that's what she knows. That's what she studies. I read tarot cards by intuition, not by cards. She reads cards
Oh,
by cards and their meaning. I read cards by energy and intuition. And there's a difference between those two things. She's going to give you the right information. I'm going to give it to you with the lessons attached to it.
wow. I need to find out when I'm going to have some grandbabies.
Tarot cards only show you what you need to know about yourself.
Oh, well, see, you just spoiled the fun.
with the
Get the
lesson.
site. Yeah, get the site, guys. How does that work?
And what you
And
need to change about yourself, what you need to look for, what you need to improve on yourself.
on the gift the site or the tarot cards?
On you.
The tarot cards, they let you know what your lessons are, and they will
Uh,
present options to you.
I
But
can just imagine.
intuition helps that process be understood.
I can imagine what they said about me. You damn, yeah, I can imagine. Gift of sight, guys. What do you guys think about the gift of sight?
Ask me that another way.
Uh, if someone can hold out their hands and the guy and the individual place their hands on the top of them and they can see their whole life ahead of them, do you guys believe in the gift of sight?
Whole life, no, because free will comes into play.
It changes as you change. Everything can change. Nothing is set out like a roadmap.
Interesting.
Yeah, we have free will. I can tell you what what is likely to happen. If you go this way, this is the likely outcome. You now have that information and you can change the path. That's up to you.
Interesting. What about sleep paralysis? What about sleep? Dreams. Some dreams are so real and so, I mean, oh my God, dude. How does the spiritual world and dream, how does that actually connect to one another? Or are they just feeding off what your deepest desires are and what your wants are?
Terry,
and
you're
they're
breaking
making
up. It doesn't work. Terry, you're breaking up.
I heard you. So I'm going to answer that by saying I do think that there's a correlation, but dreams are not my specialty. So I don't know if I'm the right person to accurately answer that. I do not dream that I remember often at all. So when I do, I look for what that made me think. So I automatically take it as a message. I don't take it as a literal message, but I think about it. I think about how it makes me feel and what I think that means in relation to what's going on in my life. I had a dream the other day. I'll give you an example. Probably the first dream that I remember having in 4 years. And in the dream, I was looking at a picture of myself, and the picture was fading away. Almost like what's that movie like Back to the Future or something where the people started disappearing out of the picture?
Okay.
It was kind of like that. And I thought, well, that's kind of creepy. Am I dying? That was my first, like, oh my God, am I dying? Am I fading away? But what I realized is that I had been so focused on some of the other things that I have going on in my life that I stopped connecting with my social network as often as possible. So I was pulling myself away from their lives, therefore kind of fading away from them. That's what it told me. Now, there's probably someone out there who has far more experience in dream analysis that might message me tomorrow and go, oh my God, no. But that's how I felt about it. And once I came to that in my brain, and once I thought, yeah, thanks for the reminder that regardless of how busy I am, I still need to make time to connect to the people that are important to me.
Interesting. Irene, what's your take on dreams?
Like when like when Antoinette came or like when Penny came and Grandpa. Yeah. Yeah. I wake up looking like they had a ton of bricks set on me, so yeah. I try to not remember, but I I barely get any sleep anyways, so that's what happens to me.
I
I'm
understand
so
that.
used to it. I'm so used to it. It doesn't
You gotta
bother
get
me anymore.
more sleep. You know, you gotta get more sleep.
Nah, nah.
Uh, yeah, you got to. But Angie, it's do you sometimes feel the energy when you know you're around another person like you? And can you tell if that person is in distress or something's wrong with them? Or how do you sense another medium is around you?
Well, I'll start off by saying that although I do work with clients and although I do paranormal investigation, on my normal, average, everyday life, I'm turned off. It's the only way that I can stay sane. Because if not, I get so much information that I cannot be a functioning human being. So I shouldn't say I'm turned off. I keep the dial turned pretty low because I still want to know if I'm in danger. I still want to have, those senses readily available to me and, for any kind of warning that I might need. But for the most part, if I'm not on the clock, so to speak, I'm not invading somebody else's privacy,
Interesting.
period.
What are some of the what what are some of the craziest places you've actually in? I mean, just in everyday life, you've encountered someone that shouldn't be there.
You mean a spirit energy shouldn't be there?
Yeah,
Uh, Um,
Walmart,
I,
HEB.
I, I would say that there's no place that I don't think spirit energy should be. Spirit energy can be anywhere it wants to be. Have I seen spirit energy pretty much anywhere? Yeah. I mean, I don't always tune into it. Sometimes I'll see it and go, okay, are we doing this? And that's just kind of the nature of it. But for the most part, I think the house that I lived in was probably the most, I don't know if it's an unusual place to have spirit energy, but it was probably the place that had a consistent amount of different energy, meaning it wasn't always the same person. People would filter in, people would filter out. They'd stop by to say hi. Some I had to kick out because they were a little too nosy or aggressive and like to try and startle me. It's, you have to go. I developed a system of, if you need to talk to me, I'm off the clock. Stop bothering me all the time. But if you need to talk to me, I had a series of wind chimes set up inside my house by no AC vent. If you need to talk to me and you just want to say hi, I had one that was very light. Go ahead and I'll acknowledge you. I had one that was kind of a medium weight. If you really need my attention, go ahead and knock that one and I'll address you then. If it's an emergency, something that I need to know right now, I had one that was super heavy. The super heavy one was never clinked. The light one, yes. And I'd say hi. And if they kept on, I'd stop what I was doing and I would say, okay, is there something that you need to let me know? Do you want to have a chat? And sometimes they would, and sometimes they wouldn't. They just wanted me to know they were there. Okay. But,
So
spirit energy can be wherever spirit energy wants to be.
it seems like sometimes you have a school bus just hanging around you, a school bus full of spirits just everywhere, just hanging around on the bus, and just they all just cling to you.
Well, not to me specifically, but I think when they know that somebody can hear them,
Mm-hmm.
they get a little excited about it. And,
Yeah,
like I said, when I go on an investigation or something like that and I open myself up, sometimes I get completely flooded. Or with clients. I had a client one time that when I prepared myself for my session with her, I looked at her and said, my gosh, a Coliseum just filled up. It was like bleachers of people. And so sometimes you have to weed through them to get to the person that they actually wanted to speak to, or the person that's even related to them. Because they're like, oh, hi,
Interesting.
we got your attention. Hi, everybody talk.
So why we don't see any individuals that have been gone for a long period of time? I mean, we might see individuals that are, within a certain time frame, but anybody that's been gone a long time, I just don't I just don't. I've never heard of any medium send anybody that's been around. I mean, that's 17, 1600. Why is it that we don't see those particular guys?
I have a theory on that too. Have I tested this theory? No. Do I think I could test this theory? Nope. Have I ever shared this theory with anybody else? Nope. So I'm going to share it with you. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. However, energy can be kind of dispersed, right? We leave some of our energy on everything that we touch and everything we interact with. So in my kind of theory that I'm working with now, because I don't know, but it makes sense to me, at least at some level, is that the further out of this life we are, the weaker our energy gets because it's preparing to create a new life.
Ah, boy, that's interesting. I mean, that's a rabbit hole situation there.
It sure is. Why do you think I haven't really shared it with too many people? Because yeah, Irene said I don't sleep. I don't either. And that's part of the reason why I don't sleep. Because I get these things in my brain that I go, oh, could that be? And could it be? I haven't come up with a reason why it couldn't, why it absolutely is impossible. So anything that's not absolutely impossible is absolutely possible.
But the one thing I was always told when I came into the paranormal community is this universe that we're in, whether we are on this side of the veil or on that side of the veil, energy is endless. So if energy is the base of the universe, why would they be a lack of energy for the guys that are long gone? You would think they would. Energy is just energy is it's cosmos. It's constantly going everywhere. So why would
There
these
is
guys?
not an unlimited amount of energy. Energy
Sure,
is finite. There's only so much energy. All energy that exists will always exist. There's no more. There's no less. Period.
And
so
there's
you
a
saying
fine line. There's a fine line between what's going on now because the veil is very thin now between the living and the dead. I so there's a lot more that's going on that people probably encountering that they don't want to encounter. So you see a lot more hauntings. You see a lot more shadow people. You see a lot more. You see a lot more spirits running around, and people are running into them more now than they were before.
I mean, I mean, because I always wondered, man, because there, like you said earlier, I forgot what cemetery that you were, not cemetery, what prison you're in, but that prison is very old, and
Me?
I can't help. Yeah, I can't that cemetery you were in. I can't remember the name of it, but I can't help but think we're coming up. You guys are communicating with the most recent spirits. What about the old ones? I mean, it's weird because I just think they evolved. and to, I just think there's nothing beneath them. I mean, there's nothing. But I mean, because I think after a certain amount of time, I mean, you're so used to it, so there is nothing that that you need to know or anything other than that. So I think they probably went to a higher plane compared to these guys that are still, trying to evolve to where these guys are at now. And that's probably why we're not able to communicate with these guys from ancient, from ancient places, ancient civilizations, that have been long gone for millions of years.
Right. Yeah, their energy is learning and growing. It's funny because I think that anytime that you're in anything that's kind of a metaphysical or spiritual thing, we don't, at least I don't have one fundamental belief system that is never questioned. I come up with new things all the time. So part of me believes in karmic contracts and how we learn things after this life, and we go and we learn, and that we get an opportunity to try it again and to live a different life the next time around. Part of me believes that we have karmic families or spirit families that we spend all of our lifetimes with, not necessarily in a row, but we all kind of always travel together. That's why we know people that we don't know. And so, my theories and my understanding, and it's I guess it's probably a healthy way I don't know everything. And I'm glad that I don't. I'm glad that I'm curious, and that sometimes these wackadoodle ideas hit me at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh. But that whole energy getting dispersed thing, that is part, how I think that came about for me is, it feels like some of the most notoriously haunted places are less and less haunted.
Terry, I gotta tell you something. I was up late last night because I was helping my friend who lives in Scotland. He was a paranormal investigator, and I saw a bunch of Romans killing a bunch of people in the forest in Scotland, and their energy was really, really strong. And then I saw a lady who gave birth to a baby, who left her baby inside of a tree stump, and she died. She bled to death, but her baby also died. So her essence is still around, and she was from the 1800s. And I was talking about that. So sometimes the past does come through, and sometimes it doesn't. But in this case, it did come through, and it was really horrific, and it was really sad. But yeah, it was
Is,
like it was there yesterday. I
is
even
it,
saw what she was wearing. I even
wow,
saw what she looked like.
is it possible that one's death, if you died a horrible death, then your energy is gonna remain strong than
Yeah.
compared to when you die a natural death, just with old age, and you lived a good life. So is it possible you dying a horrible death, you will generate more energy because of what you went through compared to,
Mhm.
living that long, fruitful life?
Mhm. Mhm. Then there was another one where there's a noose that the guy found, and I said, "Well, somebody hung her." She goes, "Oh, you won't believe what I found." He goes, "What?" "I found a rope and I found a noose," and I said, "Oh, yeah, that's how she died. In fact, that's how they killed her." And her essence is still there, but they didn't ask to be moved on. They can't. They'd rather not. They belong there, and they stayed there. That's what they. That's where they are. That's how
It
they
seems
live.
like are they just living it over and over and over again?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's not residual, but it's it's that's their home now. It's a forest in Scotland. So yeah.
Oh, okay, I get it.
So
I can see that.
that's their home now. That's where they live now, and that's they live where they died, or they lived where they were killed. So that's where they stayed, and that's where they're gonna stay.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I've I've seen that. I've heard about that before, but I've never actually encountered that myself. You know, yeah, that is very interesting. You
It's
know that.
it was a really interesting investigation, but yeah, I found it really cool. I found it really sad, but it was a mixture of everything all together. Like, you want romance, you want sadness, you got everything right there. You don't need to you don't need to watch any TV program. It's that was that one whole investigation. I thought it was really cool, but a lot of people found it was too sad when they were watching it, but it's the way it was, and that's the way it is, and that's the way it's gonna be, and that's the way it's gonna stay. And you
Exactly.
can't
Wow,
change it.
that's crazy. Uh, how do you, Angie? How do you, when you have a guest and when you're helping someone, how do you help someone manage grief? Is that something that you do, or that's something that you pretty much leave to the individual that's going through it?
No, I actually do a lot of emotional trauma healing too, and grief is a lot of times part of that, especially for someone who maybe died very young. So there's grief mixed with the trauma of that. Even though I know that the end to this physical part of my life and everybody else's life is not the end of us, it doesn't mean that we still don't have sadness and we still don't miss the person. So I am always very, very gentle in the way that I approach death when I'm dealing with clients. Um, so it really depends. When I first started working with individual clients, for whatever reason, and I still don't know, but it must have been something I needed to learn, I had a huge influx of clients that came to me because they had lost someone through, their question was accidental or intentional suicide. These were a lot of overdoses. And that's
Hmm.
very, I can't express to you how difficult it is to have some of those conversations. And so I tell everybody, I will never mislead you. I will never tell you something that's not true. I will give you the truth in the kindest way possible. So if you really don't want to know, don't ask.
Wow.
And most people really did want to know because but yeah, grief is so incredibly individualized that I don't think that there's definitely not a one size fits all for that. It depends on who they lost, how they lost, and how recent. But it's part of the healing process and the learning process. And I have a tendency to try and focus on positive things. What do
Is
you want to remember about that person?
but
What was
if
important
you
about that person?
but if you constantly remember, I mean, because you're gonna remember regardless. So if you constantly remember, you constantly forever grieving.
I don't believe that that's true. I believe that once you realize that everybody comes into your life for a reason and you honor the reason that's in there, that they were in your life, then you celebrate them. You don't grieve them. There might be times where you still miss them, special events or things that remind you, but that's not the same as grief. You're celebrating who they were to you and honoring what they were and their importance in your life. And that's how we change grief into honoring and celebrating somebody.
Have you ever seen that movie, The Entity?
No.
This movie was based on a couple that was involved. The individual was, I mean, this guy was really in love with his girlfriend. And he ended up dying from I think, a motorcycle accident. And he did not want to move on. In his mind, he loved this girl. And he was always going to be next to his girl. So when she decided, okay, it's time to move on, and decided to, well, I'm gonna have to start my life over again. So she started dating someone over again, and the guy was not very happy with that. So he decided to start haunting her, making it very uncomfortable. And made it known that he was still there in the house and he was not going anywhere. So she ended up bringing paranormal investigators in, and there's nothing that he can do. A person with that much energy, there's nothing that a paranormal team can do. They tried to bring in the university. There was nothing that he had so much love for her and so much anger and jealousy that because she's dating someone else, that he felt there's nothing that they can do. So the weirdest thing is, and the most curious thing is, the way that they tried to stop this. They tried to stop it by trying to isolate the individual that passed away, and they tried to freeze him. Now, I don't know if you can freeze or lock down an energy of that magnitude, of that source, of that power, but they end up doing that. Very interesting movie. I think it was made, I think, in the 80s, early 80s or mid 80s. And if you ever get a chance to watch it, it's called The Entity, and it brings a light on spirits that have power, and they can do some things that normal spirits can't do. And yeah,
I have a fundamental belief that all positive energy is capable of succeeding over negative energy. And that belief system might be naive, but it's kind of kept me safe, because I don't believe that I like to believe that good wins. And
Not
that
always. Not always.
I like to believe that good wins.
Not
Like I
always.
said, that might be naive,
Mm-hmm.
but I like to say that's how I like to believe. Now, could that be that I've never been up against something that was so tenacious that I couldn't? Maybe, but I haven't, and I've done, I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of investigations.
Yeah.
And only one time did I have an incident. I'm not saying it's never going to happen. I'm just saying, as of right now, that's kind of where my level is on that. Now, can you freeze a spirit? No. There's things called freezer spells that kind of, are supposed to do certain things. And I think sometimes a lot of these movies put a bunch of different kind of concepts together.
Mhm.
But interesting thing, I don't watch paranormal shows or movies.
Well, this movie was made before, the whole paranormal boom actually started. It was there in the 70s, in the 80s, and I think it's always been there. But, that 90s, 2000s, and now, it took it to a whole new level. But in the 80s,
recently watched Amityville Horror for the first time. the original.
Yeah, I didn't care
And the
for
only
that.
reason I watched that it was because one of our team members, who has since passed away, Tim Yancey, he was a consultant on that movie. So, in honor of him, I watched that. But
Interesting.
other than that, I think I know that there's so many things that are absolutely possible that those shows kind of freak me out a little bit. Because do I think that
Others was
those
a
things
really
are
good show.
possible? Yes.
That was a really good movie. I like that movie. That was one of the best
You know,
movies that was made.
Another thing, there's a TV show out there I'm watching now that a lot of people really don't talk about. And I think, are you guys with the Twinkle Twitch? I think you guys have watched this show at one point in time. And it's called Ghost Whisperer. And I know you guys have seen Ghost Whisperer.
Who's in it? Maybe.
With, what's that little short lady name? She's like you guys. She can see ghosts. She helped
Amy
ghosts.
Allen.
No, Ghost Whisperer.
I haven't seen that.
Yes, it's a very amazing show. It made me cry once or twice. And hey, trust me, I don't cry often.
That
Yeah.
you probably could only get in the States. I don't see that because I'm overseas and I don't see stuff like that. It doesn't come around
It's with
here.
Jennifer. The star is Jennifer
Oh,
Ann
Jennifer
Hewitt.
Love Hewitt?
Yeah,
Yes.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. Ghost Whisperer.
Oh,
I actually have seen that.
And
yeah.
what you think about that?
Gosh, that I think I saw that when it first came out, but the way that certain things have to be modified so that the viewing audience understands. And I
Right.
get that. And so because of that, it was very easy to watch without any kind of, ooh, that's kind of freaky, because it never came across as that way.
No,
And
it
I
did.
believe, like I said, it's a long time ago, but I believe the concept of the show was the spirit energy came to her because there was some unfinished business that she helped them finish.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. And I do think that a lot of people believe that there's spirit energy that won't leave because they have unfinished business.
Mm.
Never know.
Probably. What that
but the
unfinished business might be tragic. It might just be, I wanted to see my daughter graduate and then but I don't know that there's a stuck or there's a moving on. I think that part of the thing that we're free. And if death isn't a sense of releasing from this current situation, then what is it? Why would we still be energetically stuck here just without a body, without this form?
Great question. Yeah.
I've had one case where I felt somebody was legitimately stuck here. And it was a very, very disturbing case where a very young girl was purchased and abused. He purchased her for his wife, very, very young. And he told her through a series of different abuse situations that he would own her for eternity. So even though she was killed, and I don't remember if it was at his hands or not, I don't remember it that clearly. She was still felt captive, his captive, even in her afterlife.
She still felt bound to him, huh?
Yes. And he haunted her in her afterlife. He tortured her in her afterlife. Her energy, he would not release her energy. And I did. And that was that was an interesting case. That was a very interesting case, you know?
Interesting. Very-
Yeah.
Wow.
And one of the team members actually, I think, has most of that on at least audio, but I think there's video of it too. I'm not real good at I'm not the best video person in the world. And at that time, I don't even think I had a camera. But one of our team members, and it was interesting, and I told them exactly what was happening. I told them temperatures getting ready to skyrocket, temperatures getting ready to drop. And I mean, it was just the whole thing was it was I hate to say it was a really cool experience because this is somebody's energetic being that was trapped, but it was a really cool experience, for me.
Okay. Couple more questions. Actually, I got a story to tell you, and we're gonna get you out of here, buddy. Uh, People always want to know, and people have uh-oh. See, he just had to
Aw.
come in the picture, huh? Yeah, don't trust him. He's no good. He's evil.
God.
That little boy. You can't trust a cat with eyes like that. People
Stop it.
always want to know. People always want to know how me and Irene met, and
Okay.
it's a very amazing story.
You
And
tell.
I'm gonna share this story with you because I think only one like you will understand uh, what actually happened, how it happened, and the story behind it. So I'm on a podcast just like this, and I look to the right, like I'm looking now, and I see Irene's name. I see Japan, and I did a quick shout out because I didn't even think I got that far. I had no clue that I even reached Japan, and I'm ecstatic about it. But I did not know that she had a big role to play in all of this. And when I mean big, it's life changing. So, and I think this happened in October. So October of 2022. So
No,
I'm
it was in
thinking
March.
yeah. Well, no, you came on in October, but
Oh,
you reached out to me again in March.
oh
So
yeah, that's right.
so time have elapsed since then. So much have changed between October and March. Okay, so I've never heard from her again. And life went on. I doing my podcast and I'm doing my investigating. All of a sudden, my wife gets ill. She gets ill and she passes away.
I'm sorry.
And I'm sitting and I'm going through this life changing, life changing event. 30 plus something years, never been with anybody else, never even thought about it. And all it was the family, her, and the kids. So I'm thinking, okay, Terry, you got to get yourself together here. But how? Because this is something I've never experienced before. I've experienced grieving from a distance, not when it's in my face, not when it's attached to me. So I've never experienced nothing like that. My dad passed away. I was a little boy. I didn't know. Grandma passed away. Yeah, I experienced it, but not as strong. So you see where I'm going with this. So it hit me right in my face. It's here, right here in my face. So I'm sitting on the couch. March runs around. We just buried her. Maybe couple
A
months,
week.
maybe not a month, maybe somewhere
No, 2
around there.
weeks.
2 weeks before we buried, and I'm sitting here and I'm sitting on the couch, and I look down. Irene's contacting me. Angie, I had no clue on who she was. I didn't even know she was on my podcast because at that time you really not even thinking about that. So
Right.
I'm thinking And I picked up the phone and I'm looking. She said, "Hey, sorry about your loss, blah, blah, blah. But hey, I can help you." And I'm like, "What do you mean she can help me?" Because at that time, as a paranormal investigator, I didn't think about about the other branches that are coming off being a paranormal investigator. I didn't think about mediums, clairvoyants, psychics. I wasn't even thinking about that. You know, so I was just in my moment, and she said, "Okay, let's get this done." And she's like, "Well, send me a picture."
Stop.
And
No.
I sent her a picture, and she's like, "Okay, here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna call me, and we're gonna do this." So I called her. She connected to the person that needed to be connected with, and she told me all of this, all of that, about what's going on. And slowly, we kind of built a friendship out of this, because now you know that if I ever need to get a contact with the person that I need to get in contact with, then she is that bridge. She is that moderator between the two individuals, will be me and my wife. Whether people believe this story or not, man, it's an amazing story. So, things going on, we're communicating left and right, and Irene was telling me that she's not this, she's not that yet, and she has not been crossed over. So we went that whole process of crossing her over, and we were able to do that. So now we know that she's in a better place. But she's in a better place doesn't mean that I'm in a better place. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of things that need to be asked. That there are emotions that need to be uh, that needs to be brought down to certain levels. There's a lot of things that need to be done. And so me, as the person that I am, I started asking Irene questions. Of course, we pulled her in, and we were able to ask specific questions on this and different topics. And, whether I got the answers to it or not remains to be seen, or remains to be here, or whatever the case may be. But I was able to not completely heal myself, because there are still questions that need to be answered, but I was able to manage that. I was able to say, and with Irene's help, she was able to, "Hey, Terry, there are some questions you'll never get the answer to. So you might as well just let that go. Just get it out of your mind." But at that time, there was a big discussion among elders of certain family members that I guess Irene is that beacon of light, and every family members from both sides were coming in, and my wife was the center of attention, and there were arguments left and right. There was a lot of commotion going on, and Irene was like, "Go away, go away," trying to shish him away. But it wasn't that hard. It was kind of hard to do so. But there was one distinctive voice that came in and said, "Stop." And I can't tell you how far back this gentleman goes, but it was one of my great, I'm going to go 4 times great grandfather that came in, told everybody to stop doing what they were doing, and everybody just to leave. And at that point, it just left me, Irene, my grandfather, and my wife. My wife's name her name is Penny. She was the reason for all the madness that happened yesterday on the damn on the podcast, where we could not even continue. As you see, the light is not going off. There's none of that. But my grandfather was able to make light of a lot of stuff that was going on. And he was able to take Penny under his wing and try to mold her into the person that she is now, which at the
Mm-hmm.
time I still don't understand, and I don't think I ever will. And so he didn't understand what Irene was about because in his days, what Irene did was considered dark magic
Or
or
which?
magic or a witch or
Yes.
whatever the case may be. So he came in and he was hesitant to open himself up to Irene, and which eventually he ended up doing. And so he was able to give Irene a big picture of what his life was like. You know,
Mm-hmm.
slave, this and that, Louisiana. So I have an idea on where my last name come from,
He was a
and
butler. He was a
where
butler
my
in a
ancestors
big
came.
mansion. Yeah.
So with that being said, this guy had he had a big influence on my life. I didn't even know anything about. I always wondered because my wife never named any of my kids. She never ever thought of, for some reason, when it came to naming of the kids, she left it totally up to me. So all the names that my kids are named now are kids of his kids, which is weird. It's a little unusual. Now, do I believe that? I'm kind of on the fence about it, but I can see it because he's always been in the shadows my entire life from
Yeah.
the beginning of my life. And I can't help but wonder what is the purpose of him? What make me so special from the other grandkids that he had that he would focus on me primarily? And why would he come now of all the times? And I guess I figured that out on my own because you needed that bridge between the two worlds, and Irene was that bridge. So I figured that out, but I never able to figure out why me? Of all the grandkids he had and all the generations that came before me, what made me so special among all the other grandkids that he had before that came and gone in his life? What made me so special? And, the naming of the kids, he took my wife under his wing to make sure that nothing happens. So now they're all together in the same realm. So when Irene talks to one, she talks to them all. Like it's one big happy family, and to me, I've never even if I never would have met Irene on that particular day, I, trust me, my life would be totally different from what it is now. I wouldn't be on this podcast with you. I wouldn't even know who you are, Angie. I would not be as a big of an influence in the paranormal community. And I'm not saying I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, I think I got a significant influence, in the paranormal community. That will all be gone. I wouldn't be the man that I am if it wasn't for Irene doing what she had to do to make sure I get back to where I need to be.
There are
So
no coincidences.
and I can't help but ask, what role? Who put this woman in my life at that particular time of my life? Can you imagine that? How
Because I
did
was
this
There's
even
told to
happen?
talk to you.
there's no coincidences. Everything is supposed to happen when it's supposed to happen. That doesn't negate free will, but you were afforded an opportunity, Irene. Your free will comes into place. You could have told her to go kick rocks. You could have told her that you had no interest in whatever she had to say. That's where free will comes in. You were given an opportunity, you take it or you don't. Cause and effect, consequences. That's exactly. She gave you an opportunity. The universe gave you, put her in your path. You decide to walk around her or to stop. And you chose to stop. You chose to stop and address and acknowledge. Free will.
Crazy.
No, I can't stop it because I got his wife, grandpa's wife, Penny, her parents, her mother, uh, Terry's sister, his father. Who else? Who else I got? Oh, and Antoinette.
Good.
When
I
people
got
know
that.
that you can hear them and that you're willing to listen and that you're willing to acknowledge and pay attention, some people have a lot to say. Some people stand off in the distance and they just, they're there, you can feel their energy, but they don't really want to have anything to say. And some people they want to talk. They're excited.
Yeah.
They want to be part of whatever this is.
And I'm still trying to figure out what it is.
Me too.
Well, I can't tell you very much. I can't tell you a lot of stuff.
Well, no,
there's stuff that I can't tell you.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about it's, you say free will, but I'm thinking it's much bigger than that. I can't help but think I don't know what it is. I just know it's much bigger than what, it's like a giant ball. I mean, I don't know, but it's way bigger than what we're seeing right here. I mean, the gods, somebody, I mean, it's because it's not coincidence that this just happened.
No, there are no coincidences. This was meant to happen in the way that it happened. Where free will comes in is, what did you do about it? Free will was the opportunity for you to tell her to go away, that you didn't have any interest, or I don't want to talk to you. Your free will comes in with, what did you do with the opportunities that were presented to you?
But here's the thing, that free will, it knew what I was going to say before I even knew what I was going to say. They knew it was going to stop. They knew I was going to stop. They knew, because that's just not the type of person that I am.
Understood. You were presented with an opportunity, but we still have free will.
Yeah.
And, that's where it's not nature versus nurture anymore. It's nature via nurture. So we're allowed to have, we're born with certain parameters. Then nurture comes in and triggers those, allows those to fire, allows those to develop, allows us to become who we are. And, we used to have an expression, you cannot learn anything until the clock strikes the right time. If she would have come to you a week before, 2 weeks before, 6 months later, you might have had a completely different reaction to her. You were ready at the moment that she was presented to you.
That's crazy, man. That is, I mean, I can write a short story about, I can write
too. You thought I was nuts too.
Well, I didn't think, no.
Yes, he did.
No,
yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yes, you did. Come on.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I did. You know what?
He thought you were a little nuts. He was a little suspicious. He was waiting for the bill to come in the mail.
Suspicious, yes.
Yes.
But
the bill hasn't come in the mail yet for him, because I've helped him a million times. And
she's still calculating.
Still owes me. You owe me big time, dear.
She's, yeah. It's a laundry. But you know what? It's just amazing. I mean, I don't know how many people that told you that have even told you a story like that before, but I mean, I could actually write a book about this. You know, I could actually publish
which
a
is why
book.
I did.
You know what I'm
Which
saying?
is
So,
why I did. I considered this my coming out. This was no longer an opportunity to be afraid. I was presenting to the world, putting my putting my fears out into the light of day for the positive energy to burn off the fear.
yeah, and now I have, people, it might be kind of weird, but I have no fear of anything anymore. You know what? When I'm almost, and it's so crazy about it, because when I'm almost in a car accident, you get, no, I don't. Okay, that dude almost hit me. I mean,
Yeah.
I have
That's
no fear of anything. I have no fear, but I do have a fear of being forgotten after I'm gone. That's the only fear that I have. I don't have no fear of anything else, and I think that's a fear that every person on this planet fears.
that's
Being
right.
forgotten.
Which is why you do what you're doing because you're kind of creating a legacy that will live on long after you're gone. When somebody Googles something in, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, it will still be there. This is your legacy. And they say we die twice. The day we die and the last time.
He froze up again.
Yeah, because she's talking about something that is a no-no to talk about. That's why.
Oh, yeah, she froze up.
Yeah, they don't want. See, either they kick her out or they freeze her. So they froze her instead.
And look, she got the peace sign. That's so funny. You like peace? I like her. She's cool. And I didn't have that problem like yesterday. Yesterday was a complete madhouse.
Because I told you why.
Yeah. But you see how the difference. I can't she hear? Oh, she got kicked
She
out.
dropped out.
Can you see the difference between the two?
I
Between
know. I
Brandy
know.
and yeah, and white woman, black woman. The
Yeah,
difference.
yeah.
Wow.
And she goes, I'm not gonna go there. But
Yeah,
oh,
that is nuts.
it happens, Terry. See, she
Yeah,
got kicked out because of that. You know that. You can't talk about certain things because they don't like it, and then they'll kick you out, or they freeze you, or they actually don't want you to talk about it and you can't come back in again. That's what
but
happens. That's,
if you, but this is the thing. If you can't talk about certain things, why even put it in their heads then? I mean, that might be free will again. I don't know.
it's just certain things they find taboo to talk about, and they don't want you talking about it. That's why.
Yeah.
That's on you, right? Because you shouldn't be talking.
See,
That's why I don't talk about certain things that I can't talk about because I don't want this to happen to me.
Oh, you got kicked out. You
You're
got
not
bad
supposed to talk
weather.
about certain things. You know that, right? Because it's not gonna happen. It's not. They don't like that.
The gods are mad at you.
that's okay. They'll forgive me.
Yeah. One more question, man. No, matter of fact, two more questions. In your eyes, and I know this. Well, I guess it does. Do you believe in evolution or creation?
Evolution.
So you believe in evolution. Okay, so you believe in this whole Anunnaki thing that's going on right now in the world.
And the what? I'm sorry, say that again.
Anunnaki.
You believe in this? You believe in this whole Anunnaki thing that's going on in the world right now?
To be honest with you, I don't even know what that is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, they believe. Do you do any ufology?
Okay. You're freezing up. Say that again.
Do
Ufology.
you do you believe in ufology? The existing of aliens and extraterrestrials, UFOs.
I would say that, yeah. I
Mm,
wouldn't say it's something that I study, but I definitely feel like I'm not self-centered enough to believe that there's more than just us.
yeah. Well, apparently these guys were here millions and millions and millions of years ago, and uh, they created us in their liking. We have their
Mhm.
DNA in them, in us,
Mhm.
minus a
Right.
couple of things they took out.
Mhm.
Uh, but the world is having a hard time believing that because
Mhm.
it will affect the way the world is now. You can
Oh,
throw out religion.
absolutely.
Yeah, you can definitely throw out religion because religion. I think 30 years, maybe 100 years from now, religion is going to be an afterthought. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Uh, so these guys came here. They created us in their liking, and they seeded us. And it's a hard, and people having a hard time believing that. Whether you
You
right,
know,
left, center, all that.
yeah, again, I never claim to know everything, and my life is a journey just like yours. We learn, we take in information. Some of it we own and we process in a way that we see some real value in it. And then there's other times we're like, yeah, I can't get on board with that. Some of the things that we're taught just don't align with what your belief system is. And I know that for me, I feel like my what I thought I knew isn't necessarily what I know. You know, again, the same with the concept of the religion, having an unwavering belief in something just because that's what you were told. That's it. You were
You
told
know
to
the
believe
latest
that,
thing
so
that
you
came out.
believe it.
The latest thing that came out was Jesus Christ was probably an alien from outer space. Because how can you die and how can you come back again?
Remind
Right.
me of that's a sarcophagus. A sarcophagus is the only thing I know that you can die. They'll put you in a sarcophagus, and it regenerates you. It brings you life
Hmm.
back.
Hmm.
Now, if they have those, hell, I want one.
No thanks. No thanks.
Me either. Me either.
I want one because
I'm
I'm
gonna
bringing
I'm
back
gonna
people.
use this. I'm using this all up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next level.
I don't want one because you can't there's the law here is you can't bury anybody whole. Everyone has to be cremated. So the lack of land does that. So nope. I'd rather not be done that way. No thanks.
Just put me in there and just let me live a million years. I'll be good.
Oh gosh. And then you're gonna bug me by singing 100 bottles of beer on the wall. Yeah. That's
Well, I'm gonna do
terrifying.
that if I'm dead or alive. It really doesn't.
Oh gosh
There's
darn.
no way you can't get past that. I'm not gonna.
Why did I ever pair up with you in the first place?
There ain't no crying now. You can't cry. You tortured me. Payback.
Now you get to cast. Did I cast you away?
You know what I'm saying? And for anybody else that who've done weird things to me, they're gonna get it too.
Yeah.
But
That's why I'm
actually,
older than you.
here's the thing, guys. Before I let you guys go, uh, You won't be the first one to get it, but you won't be the last one to get it. Just want to throw that in there.
Ah,
We all know who's gonna be the first one.
not me.
No, it won't be you, but you're in the list.
Oh,
So
darn.
if you guys think for one moment that spirits, and I think every spirit has an agenda. Would you guys agree with me or disagree with me?
Yeah. Yep.
And
Especially
you
here.
agree with me?
Especially here.
I guess I never thought about it, but sure, there's a reason, there's a message. So sure,
I think,
that could
and
be an agenda.
my agenda is to bug everybody on the planet.
No, not I'm gonna say I'm on vacation and Terry's gonna bug me. I'm not home. Bye bye.
No. It's no return to sender here. You stuck with me.
But then I say, okay, now you owe me blah 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 for helping you, right? Ha 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 ha. They can do that to you too.
That's fine. I'll pay you back in pennies and nickels and dimes until I pay you
Mm.
out.
Sorry, it doesn't work like that. No.
But yeah, well, Angie, tell the world how to get a hold of you, my friend. We're going on 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Yes. You can find me. I have I have TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, AngieSpiritualReadings.com, Angie Spiritual Readings, and then on TikTok it's Angie.spiritual. Or, and like I said, my website is AngieSpiritualReadings.com. And my contact information, if anybody wants to contact me, you can do it through there. And if you're interested in the book, it's available on Amazon.
Okay, cool. Now, do you charge for your spiritual readings?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Do you
Do you
charge
charge a fee for your spiritual readings?
Yes, for my business, I do. I do charge a fee for my clients that come in to see me. For the paranormal stuff, I do not.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. Well, hey, Angie, it has been a pleasure speaking with you. The conversation has been on point. I'm glad that we had this conversation. You guys, where she's put it out there, man. If you guys need a spiritual reading or want to contact, do you contact loved ones too? Or want to contact a loved one or, all that good
I
stuff?
do. I do mediumship. I do multiple different forms of divination, including mediumship.
Oh, that's cool. Man, it has been a pleasure speaking with you. I really enjoyed it. I hope I've asked some questions you've never answered before. So that was one
And
thing.
Terry,
I really
you're
didn't.
stuck in the light socket again, right?
No, I didn't put my finger in the light socket today.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Well,
tempted to.
thank you for having me on. It was
Yes, she offered a rabbit hole to go down, but I chose not to go down that rabbit hole. And I'm like,
That's right.
"Nah."
yeah.
I'm like, nope, I'm not gonna do it today. But man, it has been a pleasure, Angie, speaking with you. And guess what? I am bringing the Universal Podcast Show back. I'm not sure when I'm bringing it back, and I would love to have you as a guest on that podcast. I think that would be very interesting. Normally, what the guest consists of, I call it Universal because I bring everybody from different branches to the table to have a large paranormal discussion. Mediums, demonologists, paranormal investigators, priests.
Don't bring back that English demonologist. Anyway, no.
Why? Because you got into a fight with him. There are
You're not
so
gonna
many.
bring him back.
Absolutely. Yeah. Once you do that, reach out to me.
I think that'd be great. I think you'll fit in right well with what I got going on. If
Perfect.
Irene can stop fighting with people, See,
She won't.
if she can behave herself, I don't think she can. But you know what? That's a great thing about a podcast show. People have the right to agree and disagree.
See, I got the
And
I
you can
got
see
the
That's right.
angel and I got the
different
devil right here. So and the
But
witchy party
anyway,
right here.
Angie, okay. Angie, it has been a pleasure speaking with you. I appreciate it that you joined me out of your busy
Thank
schedule.
you. It
to
was
sit
lovely
down and
speaking
talk.
to you. Yep. Thanks for
Yes,
having me
and
and have a lovely rest of your evening.
yes, I will. I'm sorry we didn't have an Arsenio Hall moment. It seemed like you came prepared on everything that I want to say.
I just give you what I
But
got, right?
I'll get you next time, though. I'll make sure you will have that chin moment. Anyway, guys, appreciate you joining the show. This is Terry and Irene with NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast Show. I will see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same. And you know what? We're going to stay in. No, we're headed up to Maryland. We're headed up to Maryland to chat with the team up there. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace. Bye, guys. Irene, hang
Bye.
around for a minute.
I think I lost myself. Demon time, demon time, demon time, demon. Demon time, demon time, demon time. It's 3 a.m. Voices in my head again. Demon time, I can't pretend. 2026, no more friends. Demon time, feel it on my skin. Dark thoughts, let it all begin. Demon time, yeah, I let it in. Now I don't know where I am. Late night, eyes wide, no sleep. Heartbeat fast when the room go deep. Cold air creeping under my feet. Something there, but it don't speak. Phone like flicker, shadows move. Same dark vibe, same cold move. Mind gon' blink, but I still feel used. Like I'm stuck in a loop I choose. No trust, I don't trust myself. Fear a crack, I see someone else. All this pain that I never felt. Now we rising, I need some help. I hear whispers say my name. Every night it sound the same. From the dark it feed the flame. Now I know I'm not the same. Demon time. It's 3 a.m. Voices in my head again. Demon time. I can't pretend. 2026, no more friends.